cloud. Okay, it looks like we are recording.
Mhm.
And since Bill Shaheen won't be here, we should be able to go through for a Bill, your appointment is at 7:15. Lee, as long as you're here, maybe we can and go through some of these things and just in the event that someone wanted to hear what Bill had to say, we won't start you early. And so in terms of uh, minutes, I did review the minutes. Colleen, I don't think I had any changes.
Uh, did you send it back to me?
I thought I did, but now I'm wondering if
Yeah.
that's if you don't remember seeing them, then why don't you let's not do these minutes tonight. Could you please send them out again to all of us,
Yes, I will.
and we'll do that. Is that okay, Lee? Because it's possible
Sure.
that I
Yep.
didn't do.
That's a good idea. Yep.
Okay, so we'll do that, and we'll do the minutes the next meeting. Colleen, we'll
Okay.
do both of them.
Okay.
The next item that I have is Colleen's timesheet. That is, so that's the timesheet for the week ending the 10th of January. And Ms. Colleen has got the normal 70 hours for these 2 weeks. Are you okay with that, Lee?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
I am, Colleen, also, so that's approved.
Okay.
The next one is the payment to the treasurer. Somehow I'm getting some feedback here, and I'm not sure why that's happening.
You're getting it. It sounds like an echo of what you're saying.
I know. And I'm not sure what the reason is, whether it's going in and out through somebody else. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can proceed. For payments to the treasurer, we'll total $775 for this period. Of that, $475 is Board of Health permits, $475, $250 for Board of Health licenses, and then $50 for Board of Health fees, totaling the $775. Are you okay with that, please?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
I
Thank
am
you.
too, colleagues.
Okay.
The next one is a renewal for the Church of Christ Congregational Church, and it is for the whole church and social special events. It's for this whole year. It's a renewal. Are you good with that, Lee?
Yes.
It's a food license, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, I am too, Colleen, for that to prove.
Okay.
The next one is there's three of them, looks like. I'll read them. It's for the same thing. It's for Chartwell Food Service at Granby Junior Senior High School. It is, and that one is a permit to operate a food establishment. The next one is for the same thing, to sell milk and cream. The next one is a food establishment. All of these are over 25 feet. And for Chartwell, also for East Meadow. The next one is Chartwell again for milk and cream for the year, for East Meadow also. So that's four of those for the whole year for the two schools. Are we okay with those four, Lee?
Sure. Yes.
I am too, Colleen, so they're done.
Okay.
The next one is a renewal for Wickedly Wild Gourmet Sauces. Laurie LeBlanc at 96 Ferry Hill Road. And it's a renewal for license for a residential kitchen. This one would be pending Lynn's inspection. Are we okay with that, Lee? Okay, I am too, Colleen,
Yes,
so
we
that's
are.
done.
Okay.
The next one is retail. Let me see if there's more than one here. There are two of them. It's a renewal for the year for Red Fire Farms, the two licenses. One is retail food sales, and the other is to it's a store license for milk and cream, also for the year for Red Fire Farms. It's a renewal. Are we all set with that, Lee?
Yes, I believe so.
I am also.
Of course,
I'm
if
going to
they,
move.
once they
What?
have their new farm market, they'll also have to get a food, establishment.
Yes,
So,
they will have to do that.
yeah, so this, whether they're at, this is the retail food and milk, but that'll, they'll need that additional one, so,
Right.
okay.
The I'm going to skip one of these, and that's for Josh Fugler and Fugler Construction, and that is, well, I guess we're going to have to deal with it anyways. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is Josh Fugler, so Josh Fugler Excavation. It's actually a double license. One of them is for a septic hauler, where he says he'll be going at the dumping at Granby, South Hadley, and Belchertown treatment plant. It's a renewal. And the other is an septic installer's license. Well, let's make sure that they're the same. They're both the Fugler excavation for the same for the year. Lee, are we okay with both of those?
Yes.
I am too, Colleen. So they're
Okay,
approved.
okay,
Next is Tom Halleck of Halleck Water Contracting. It's a renewal, and this is an installer's permit for the year. Septic installer's disposal works installer's permit. Are we okay with that, Lee?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
I am too, Colleen, so that's approved.
okay,
The next is a certificate of compliance for uh, it's for 5 Country Way. That's signed by Alan White, installed by Josh Fugler, and it's an as-built. Lee, are we okay with this one?
Yeah, everything up there is fine. I was there several times, and it came out just right.
Okay.
Yep.
So I agree with that, Colleen, so we grant that.
okay,
The next one is Victor Marino at 53 West Street. It is a new 1,500 gallon 2 compartment tank and distribution box. It doesn't say it's got an outlet filter, but from Neil Jackson. Are we okay with this one, Lee?
Yeah. Carl's Excavating put that in maybe 2 months back. I'm not sure why it's coming in so late, but I guess it doesn't matter.
In fact, it does say it's 11/11/25. So, but we're okay with it.
Okay. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Colleen, that's all set. And
okay,
it's an as-built, and he's got a drawing with it. So
I
that could have
need
been
a
a
minute.
system. What,
I
Lee?
have to bring. I just need a minute. I'm in Hoyoke. I have to bring something out.
Okay,
I'll be right back. Sorry.
okay, that's okay. And we're getting up before we went through this nice and quick. This is going to be a fast meeting without Bill here and just a little agenda.
yes, Should be quick.
Let's see what I did with, while Lee's gone, I'm gonna look at, somehow or other, I misplaced my agenda. Oh, here it is. I usually have that right in front of me and I flip through the pages and put them off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting, Colleen, when I talked to my other brother about the diseases, and his wife works at the Chicopee sewage treatment plant, and they do test for diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And the other brother that I talked to that was sick says that the data he's seen is that the flu is going, that COVID is not moving very quickly, but that the flu is going through the roof. It's just going, the
Wow.
rate that it's increasing is like straight up.
Wow.
But my brother with a wife at the treatment plant says that they, in fact, are seeing a huge amount of COVID and flu, and yet he's seen at his practice. He says he's virtually seen no COVID, and all he can think of is that the symptoms of the COVID must be so light now
Maybe
that
mild.
people either aren't even testing for it or they don't recognize that they get it. But he said there has to be a reason, a disconnect for the number of cases that they're seeing in the sewage versus the number of patients that he's seen in his practice.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a very mild case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that delay.
Okay, Lee. I just said to Colleen while we were kind of killing time, is that my brother Glenn said that his wife at the sewage treatment plant in Chicopee has seen huge amounts of COVID and huge amounts of flu in the wastewater, but he's not seen any patients, literally any patients with COVID. And he says that just all he can think of is that the cases must be so mild that people are either not even testing for it or they're just that they don't even know they have it. But he said he doesn't. He's not having any prescriptions for Paxlovid. He said it just isn't there. But Gary told me that he's seen the concentration of flu that the state is putting out, that they're saying that on their data that the flu is just going, the slope of the graph on it is going straight up. He says he's never seen it go like that at all. It hasn't even started to try to flatten out.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Not good news, but interesting just the same that the COVID is so low.
Yeah.
Unless they're just assuming that it's a flu, if it's a mild strain of the
Maybe.
COVID, then they would just think in their head that it's flu, but and not test out for COVID.
Yeah. One of the last one that I have is a application for disposal system permit for a septic tank for Sonny Stewart on 303 East State Street. Now that's the system that was really, really deep. And we said, I thought that it was perhaps underwater.
They should do it. Yeah, I remember that.
And it seems like just replacing the tank without understanding where the water is isn't a smart thing to do.
No, I thought there was a suggestion, if I remember correctly, at the last meeting to do a reevaluation and maybe a deep hole on that site. But I don't know what that was the last I heard of it. Okay,
so Colleen, we should not approve this septic tank application. We should this was Greg Everson, I think, is the one. Yeah, it's Greg. We should let him know that that's not approved.
Okay,
That system
so,
could end up needing a pump, and the whole thing could be having to lift it up. It could be a big deal.
okay, so they need a deep hole?
Yeah, they need a deep hole with an engineer determining where the water table is. And
Okay,
that's the one that was all that when we got, I forget what it was, but it was crazy. It was like a 50-year-old system, and no one
mm-hmm,
had dug holes, and we didn't know really what the soil was, whether they were on the rock or whatever. So
mm-hmm,
we were going to be
mm-hmm,
doing a soil exploration.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So with that, we really should be able to go to our guest tonight. And I'm hoping Bill stayed with us.
I'm still
And let's
here.
see if we can get him back.
Can you hear me? I called in.
Okay. So can you tell us a bit? I think at the last
Sure.
meeting, Bill Shaheen had said something about what he was up to out there with you.
Okay.
And Colleen definitely sent out uh, a copy of your letter, which was, in fact, maybe I'll just tell you what I know from what Colleen has already sent to us.
Okay.
She sent a copy of your letter. She sent it, including the data on the water testing. It had the pictures that you have with it
Okay.
that show a pipe that's coming on your side of the road across East Street from the house at the northeast corner of the intersection of South Street and East Street, which used to be the Fontaine house. It may still be the Fontaine house. And Colleen also showed, so that it showed, I'm guessing the pictures you sent them, Bill, but what Colleen also sent to us is a copy of the design of a septic system that's over on the east side of the house. The whole east side of the property is a leach field that was designed and installed in 1991. They did not put a new septic tank. It was a 1,250-gallon septic tank that they reused. At the soil log showed that it looks like the design was done in November of 91. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't see models. They didn't see rust in the soil. They called water out. I think I just saw that it was like 76 inches down in the ground. It did show that the system or the soil that they dug in was definitely filled. It started with topsoil and then a subsoil and then glacial till and then sand and then glacial till again. And the water was just a little bit into the second layer of glacial till. So it indicated to me that it was a lot that was filled. And that drawing also shows that between the leach field and the house near the septic tank, there is a drain that doesn't show, it runs basically parallel to South Street. So it runs kind of north-south.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't tell us anything about where the either end of the drain are. On the drawing, it shows one end kind of near the septic tank, and the other is kind of near East Street. And the drain does not appear to be in the same spot, but we don't know where it goes. But the drawing of the drain kind of ends in a different spot than where the pipe going across the road is. And the pipe that you've shown going across the road looks to me like probably an 8-inch steel kind of pipe that I would
Hmm.
expect the town has installed, not a not a landowner. So that's what I know. And your pictures show liquid coming out to daylight on your side of the road, and it shows kind of a puddle. And we saw, as it said, that you saw bacterial contamination in the liquid, and you had a picture in a jar of some pretty black liquid. So that's
Right.
what I know right now.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a little history. And I mentioned to Colleen, when she says, she, my complaint. And actually I moved here in December of 24. So I'm new to the area. And, we moved in December of 24, and obviously winter, snow, and that. I didn't look much around the yard or anything like that. And then, come spring, I noticed on the corner there was some healthy vegetation growing there. So I go over there, and I noticed the picture kind of you saw. There's a small pool. It's black. It goes. I've monitored it a couple times, and it goes from almost nothing to it being filled up, and the actual pipe that runs underneath the road is about three-quarters full. Um, so, and as when Bill came out, he could see that, if you stir it, there's a definite odor, So I was concerned, and so I still don't know exactly how how we should handle this, but, I wanted to make sure, so I took the water, sent it up to Quabbin Analytics up in Belchertown, and the only thing they could really do for me is to measure, an E. coli count. So, that was part of the report or the letter that I sent you, saying that it was very high E. coli. Uh, Bill came out probably sometime in September to take a look, based upon my letter, and we walked the area, and he sort of he kind of looked at the lay of the land and the system across the street, and he kind of indicated that it probably is a septic. It's not bad. I mean, right now it's only this small pool. I'd say roughly 3 feet by 1.5 feet. That it looks like it was dug out by someone, but there's this little pool, and it goes from filling up to draining a little bit. Nothing is running out of it yet. And so I guess that was my concern is, okay, there's a small, what appears to be septic discharge sitting there. And I guess I was trying to get some direction, advice. I mean, is it a concern? Does it violate some sort of local like a law or a ordinance or whatever. And Bill suggested that what I do is just keep an eye on it, see if it continues, or if it kind of dries up or what happens. So that's what I've been doing, and I just that's what I'm doing, and I just figure if it does get worse or it continues, I will let you know. But at this point in time, I've just been kind of keeping an eye on it. I don't, because it's the low portion of my property running along South Street. If anything drains in any of the pipes, there's actually another pipe running across South Street. But, you know, that appears just to be rainwater and that. So I wasn't concerned about that. But the other one up above that is discharging the black solids. You know, if and it gets worse, what, I guess my question is, what do I do?
I gave some thought to it. The same bill isn't here, but and with the open meeting law regulations, we can't talk about it. No two of us, because there's only three of us, no two of us can talk about this stuff outside the meetings, outside of posted meetings, because two people constitute a quorum, and decisions and even most discussions can't occur in a quorum in a non-posted meeting. So not having Bill here limit some of our information right now. But I did, after seeing what Colleen showed, I was surprised. I thought when I heard about this at the last meeting, I thought you in fact were talking about the pipe that crosses South Street, and that one I was familiar with, at least the way the septic systems were installed. There's a huge amount of fill on those. I think there's 3 houses on that corner, and I remember witnessing the perk test. I remember watching a fill be brought in, and I was pretty sure that those houses weren't connected and going to the service. However, once Colleen sent me the information, I don't know if Lee had a chance to look at it, but once she sent me the information that this was a 1991 system repair, which was a long time ago, so over 35 years ago, and it was into shaky soil, even though the engineer said that he had all that fill, the bad fill, taken out. We certainly know that if you look at the houses that are we just had a system that was repaired just to the north of this house, and when you drive by, you can look into the backyards and see the monster hill of fill that's back there because the water table is so high. I'm guessing that we'd find, if we went back long enough, that pipe going across the road was one that the town put in, and that it was probably put there to drain out a low spot that was in that corner, either before or after the fill was brought onto the property. Because if you look at that spot that the pipe looks like it aims at, it kind of looks like it aims at about where the garage door is in the basement of the house across the street. I don't know exactly where it goes, but that's what it looks like, and which does not line up with the drain that's on Bob Sheehan, the engineer's drawing. But so I'm guessing that what you have is a pipe that was put in there to drain a low spot on that corner that probably used to flood and run across the road and maybe freeze, but it was I'm guessing a problem. But I'm also going to guess that from the data that somehow that pipe, that we don't know where it begins and where it ends, that pipe may in fact get into that. Maybe it was put there to stop a cellar from flooding because of that high water table. Maybe it goes and picks up that layer of sand that's down there 4 or 5 feet that Bob Sheehan's designed. So, and maybe it goes out and drains that across the whole back of that property, and to try to pick up the water that was coming. So it could in fact be inadvertently put in a way that the new septic, well, the 35-year-old septic. actually drains into it or goes when the water flow is the water table's high, maybe the water flows into it more than when it's dry or more than when the system is used more. But I'm guessing that it's that pipe going through or near the system coming off of that line. I'm guessing that someone connected that pipe up to the pipe that goes across the street. So if I were going, and I guess it's going to take us until the next meeting to get Bill's input. But if it were just me right now and you called me up and said, hey, Dick, will you come and take a look at this? Given what Colleen has shown to us, I'd be saying, you know what? The pipe on your side of the road appears to be on town property. I'm guessing it ends on the north side of the road on town property. And I would think about, if Bill and Lee agrees, I would think about calling up Dave DeRocher at the town yard and say, hey, Dave, when you get a chance, can you take one of your little machine and let's go and dig up where we think is the north end of that pipe, and let's see if there's something connected there. And because the other option is to go to the guy next door across the street from you and say, hey, let's fix this, and say, oh, you got to dig up your property. And then we found out, oh, nah, what really happened is there's the next house to the east, that the big house, the old house.
Right.
And say, oh, that's the one that actually has got a system hooked up to it or something. But we don't know if anything's hooked up. And to start telling all sorts of people to dig up their yards probably isn't going to fly very well.
Well, that was, having just moved in, I thought, boy, that's not a way to make friends with neighbors here by, doing this. So I didn't want to take any action, but I just sort of wanted to get a feel for, what the situation is.
Yeah, I really do think we ought to go and see if there's something connected. That's the first thing. If there's black stuff on your side of the road, I'm guessing there's black stuff on the other side of the road. And since it's on town property, and it doesn't appear to be very deep. It seems like asking the town engineer if he can help us here and just see what we have there, and find out what we have. If we've got pipes, if whatever we think we find, then we take some other course of action, because the town, in your question is saying, hey, I'm a new guy. Does this town think it's okay to have sewage running across the road into a little puddle? No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't.
Okay.
That's something that we absolutely don't think is okay. And and this board has a reputation for not letting water courses get polluted and wells polluted and not have sewage on the top of the ground. We don't do it.
Okay.
So
that
part of it.
The pipe. Okay. I was going to say, the pipe that runs underneath the road on these streets. I guess one question is it necessary?
We don't know that. At this point, we don't know anything.
Okay.
So that's why I would think we might be surprised and find out that the town put that in, and when they did, they put this big gravel basin in there, and it catches water, and it's a critical thing for them to have. I'm guessing it's not, otherwise there'd be an outlet for it. And you'd be saying, gee, I've got 100 gallons of water flowing down my property from this pipe. But that's not what you're seeing. So my guess is that it's not there for a good reason. And and in a case like this, I've been involved with a couple of them and said, well, we can't tell where the problem's coming from, and it's a real big job to dig everything up. We don't want to do it. Then if you find a pipe and you say, let's plug the sucker, and because it's not supposed to be here, let's plug it and see where it backs up, and then you find out who owns it.
Okay. Well, that does make some practical sense there.
Yeah, it's kind of the pragmatic way of saying, let's find out. And people will say, maybe it's not fair. Why'd you do that? And you say, well, if you're dumping sewage down the pipe, you shouldn't be doing it, and we're going to find out who's doing it. But we'll see what Bill says at the next meeting. But that's what, I don't know how Lee feels about it, but it seems like that's an easy approach. We don't need to get anybody mad at us. It's on the town land. The town could maybe do the work. It doesn't sound like a big job, and we'd learn a real lot when we do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking is, Lee, whether that seems like a good approach.
No, that makes perfect sense. I guess my only question is when we have a rain or snow melt event, is there some measurable pooling of the water on your property? In other words, let's say there was a pool of water 3 feet across and you drove a stick in one side, and then, like right now, the pooling may have been reduced or eliminated, and then possibly we're getting some rain tonight. Will it repeat itself tomorrow morning?
But the funny part of that is, when I first saw it, and then I'd go walk over there. I'd cut grass or weed whack or whatever, and I'd take a look. And
right.
we had a period in the summer where it probably didn't rain for 2.5, 3 weeks of any significant amount. And that is when the pool was had the most discharge in it. So I didn't correlate it with rain or anything like that.
All right, so it's either a groundwater scenario or, as Dickie alluded to, it's a septic scenario, by the sounds. But without getting some help from highway to uncover that joint, there's no way of telling what the source is, even though there's some suspicion.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to make I try to minimize any impact I have on my neighbor.
No, I get it, but if you turn the coin over, you know what I mean, you would get the question asked of you and your property, and
Exactly.
I'm not picking on anybody. No one's being picked on here. It's just that if there is a faulty system for some reason, and the neighborhood, again, water quality, drinking wells, etc., need to be protected. And
and maybe you won't find this, Lee. Maybe we won't find this. Maybe we'll find some other thing. Maybe that we find that, and in fact that what we've got is some kind of a basin over there, and there's a dead raccoon in it, and that's what this whole problem is. And no one, maybe no one knows that if it's a septic system, doesn't know it's theirs. But at least this is a pretty easy fix. Well, not a fix, but a little investigation that doesn't dig up a lot of property. It doesn't accuse anybody of anything. It just says, gee, we found this stuff. Let's see if we can find where the source is. And I think we have to wait probably until Bill is back with us, because he's done some
Yeah,
investigation. We certainly don't want to just do something that
No,
he says, "Gee, this is a lousy
yeah.
idea."
Yeah, there's no finger pointing right now. We're just throwing some ideas back and forth to try to
yeah,
come up with a plausible place to start.
yeah.
So, Bill,
And
if
I
it's
agree.
okay with if the idea, the two things. One, if it's okay with you for us to wait until Bill's at our next meeting, and the other is, unless you say, "Boy, that's a crazy idea," then it's one that I would kind of suggest to Bill, but from your standpoint, to know that we don't think it's okay, and we won't. The answer sounds like, at least for, and I know Bill is not going to say it's okay either. So the three members of this board are going to be saying this is a worthwhile thing to find out what's causing it and to stop it. So
Okay.
so that would
Yeah,
be,
I agree.
that's what we'd be telling you tonight. And if
Okay.
it's okay, ask Colleen to put it on the next meeting agenda
Okay.
so we can discuss it. And you can certainly listen in or just wait to hear what we say.
Okay.
So with
Well,
that,
that,
you can stay with us and listen to the rest of our meeting, or you can be on your way. It's up to you.
well, even though I'd like to hear what you're going to say, I have a couple dogs here that are looking at me.
Okay.
So I'm going
Want
to
to go out?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Have a good.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Bye.
sir.
The next is, I bet there are two Title V inspection reports. One is 11 Pheasant Hill, Alan Weiss, that it fails. Lee, I'm guessing you saw that it fails. Or not. I'm
Well,
not sure, but Alan's got a thing that.
Yeah. It was an art cement tank. I think from maybe
Whoa.
the 50s or 60s. We're going to be
Wow.
on site tomorrow morning to actually see if we can get a perk or take a sample up to UMass, depending on the soil conditions.
Wow. Wow. What this? Well, is this on the? If you look up Pheasant Hill, is it on the east side or the west side, Lee?
It's looking up the hills on the left-hand side, heading towards Pleasant Street.
Might find some better soil up there. On the right side, you've got that till that goes into that kind of wetland. On the left
Yeah,
side,
there's a
it kind of
stream.
drops off further, but you've got the wetland at the base of that hill too.
Correct. Yeah, so it's
So
going to be a little challenge.
okay, so we're all set. We'll accept that one. It sounds like we're
Yes.
okay. It failed.
Yep.
The next one I did take a look at. It was 95 Taylor Street. So it looks like it's the one that's way back in the woods. That I think it's right at the base of what is that street that goes up the Jimmy Buck? No, not Jimmy Buckley. You know, Mike Buckley lived on it. Ray Brooks.
Oh, Hubbard Drive.
Hubbard Drive. It looks like it's way up in there but not on that road. The long driveway that goes. What is it, a big horse farm or something in there?
Oh, that's the Humphrey property.
Right, the Humphrey property, and it just said that it looks like it's a conditional path, but it needs a tank and debox.
Yes, that's what we witnessed at the time. Yes.
Okay, and that's I did look. It looks like that was a modern design that was done with a Title V soil determination with water table of 2 feet and built up to 4 feet above the water table.
Yeah, this house is way up, as you can tell, way up on the hill,
Yeah.
way up
But it
top.
sounds like we should just accept that as needing the new components and having a good leach field.
Yeah, the liquid levels looked really good.
Yeah.
The components were just aged. That appears to
Yeah.
be the only fault of the system.
Yeah, that's what it looks like is that it's probably a kind of lightly used system that the leach field stays okay, but the time just ate away the concrete of the two boxes.
That, yeah, along that line, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't have a lot of small family, just again, just a time situation
Yeah.
of the concrete not lasting.
Yeah. Okay. So Colleen will accept that.
Okay.
Now moving to the next ones. This is a complaint, the tenant requesting water test from landlord. Colleen, can you tell us? I saw that, but
Yes, this tenant has been requesting, I believe, since she moved um, in September, I guess, for the landlord to provide her with a water test because the water, I guess, has an odor, and also she's getting a rash from the water. So she doesn't want to drink it, and she really wants to just see a water test, and she hasn't been able to get one. And the only thing we had on file was something from like quite I don't know, 2016, way back. So she just wants to know, like, can she somehow get this water test from the landlord? And she hasn't had
Lee,
success.
Bill's not here, but this is back back to the discussion we've had about should we make rental units be licensed? Should we require yearly water tests? Should we require that they provide water and sewage when there's no power? So maybe in fact, I think that's on that two items down. We're supposed to talk about it again. So, Colleen, could you put that on our next agenda? Because it definitely, Lee, I don't know how you feel, but this is a big enough thing that I think three of us should agree on what we're doing.
Well, it appears over the last couple of months that this type of scenario has come up multiple times. So at some point, it's probably gonna, not forced upon us, but it has to be addressed.
If I were renting someplace, I'd be saying, I'd like to know if what you're telling me to drink is safe. That seems reasonable. But on the short term for this one, Colleen, I see a couple options. The easy one is to give the owner a call. Colleen, the easy one would be if you gave the owner a call and say, "Hey, could you just get this water tested and stop us, everybody, from having to go through a lot here."
Yeah, I can certainly try that.
And short of that, I guess if I were the tenant, I would tell the owner, you know what, if you ask Colleen to the owner and they say no, then the owner, the tenant, to say, you know what, I asked you this, I'm really afraid of it. You won't do this. I'm just going to get this water tested and take it out of my next rental check, and just be done with it, and let the owners know that that's what's going to happen, and let them duke it out. If it
Yeah.
were me, that's what I would do.
Yeah, that
But
would be.
but I would start by saying, you know, that in fact maybe you can even tell the owner, the board would not be opposed if the owner won't do this. That you can even tell the owner that the board feels this is an issue with all rental units in the town, and
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to have a rule that deals with it. But
Mm-hmm.
for right now, why not make it easy for everybody? Just have the test done. It's
Just
not
have
a
it
very
tested.
expensive test.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lee, do you
Colleen,
think
did
that's a
you?
reasonable approach?
Yes. Yeah, we have
Okay.
to start somewhere with this. It's going to be town-wide, I think, before we're done.
I think so too.
Did you mention, Colleen, that this tenant developed a rash?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
takes it in a different direction, but we're not gonna
Yeah,
we're not gonna go there.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because
That's
I'm guessing it's not the water, but that if someone said I'm getting diarrhea or something, that would be
Mm-hmm.
more
well,
apt to
yeah,
be.
that would steer you down a different path.
Right.
A rash
Mm-hmm.
steers us down a different path, but we can't get into the diagnostics of any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Dick, your point, of course, is valid that these type of things keep coming up, and it's always a landlord-tenant fight.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I don't know what other towns do. Of course, other towns have water systems, and we don't. But I don't know what other towns do or don't do regarding rental properties on town sites that are supplied by private water. How do they deal with this or not deal with this?
I think Colleen told us that South Hadley has in fact licensed rental units, and then they get at least you get a handle on it, and then once you say you have to have a license, then if the tenant doesn't, I mean the landlord doesn't behave right, then you can say, okay, you can't rent without a license, and we're going to take your license. So it at least gives some teeth and a mechanism to say let's get this a little bit under control. And I really see it with the ADUs coming. It's going to even be worse in this town.
So, do we have a copy of that type of form that South Hadley uses, Colleen, or can we get one just for the sake of taking it around in the future?
Maybe you could
Yeah.
call
I think
Sharon or
somebody
something.
else told you about that, Dick, because when I called and asked, I thought people said no, they didn't have it, but I
Oh, then
checked.
maybe someone else did tell me.
Somebody
Maybe you
did.
could just
I
give
know
Sharon a call.
but I can check with them. Yeah, the health
Or
department.
else, instead of going to South Hadley, go to our friends in Northampton and
Mhm.
ask them.
That's a good idea.
They've got a much better, a broader view.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. I'll
Yeah,
double
they do.
check with them.
They
I
deal
thought,
with a lot
yeah,
of hill
I think I
towns
did,
up
but
there. So
yeah. Let me see what they say in Northampton.
yeah, because the towns under their umbrella are a lot of the more rural locations.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which of course is all private wells and all private septic. So yeah, we can see what they've got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems really strange to me that cities or places like Amherst or Northampton would have all these rental units and say, oh, we don't care. They can be anything. It's just the sky's the limit on what people can do in them. And I'll bet that's not the case, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah. You gotta start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The next one that's on the list is the Permit Extension Act, which I think we're going to have to talk, the three of us. Colleen did. In fact, it's worthwhile talking about, Lee, at least for right now, because we've got somebody that's requested an extension based on this, that there's apparently another permit extension plan in effect that Colleen sent it out, but it's like if there was a permit that was in place in 2024 and 2025, that it's automatically, but it's a permit specifically talking about land development. And they talk about uh, like zoning changes, wetland changes. So it's permit use kind of permits that had a sunset provision or something, whatever they call it, that says it's only going to be good for so long that it's extended for 2 years. Now, this person is looking for a septic system construction permit extension. And it's interesting. I don't know where it is, but I thought I saw something that Bill Shaheen sent out, but I said saying that it was only for wetlands. I think it said wetlands, but
That's what Bill told me.
Okay, so maybe you're the one that put it.
I put it out there because that's what he said. But on this on the paperwork, yeah, it does talk about, but it says, for example, Wetlands Protection Acts.
But Lee, when I called Colleen back about it, and I said, that's not. This isn't really a permit. This is. It is. I guess it's a construction permit, but it's not associated with really land development. This is something that the state says that a permit shall be valid for 3 years. It just says for 3 years. It doesn't say we're going to change it and say it's going to be valid for 5 years. It still says 3 years. It didn't change the rule that says it's valid for something other than 3 years. And we've got a system in place that says, these perk tests are good for 2 years, then 2 years, then you can extend it for another 4 years, and then you can get your permit and it goes out to 3 years more. So you've now got 11 years have gone by since a perk test. And my feeling is we shouldn't believe that this particular statute applies to the length of time that construction permits are good for, that they're set in another place that clearly says the system shall be installed in 3 years. And if it's not, but had been started, and there's a reason that you don't want to start, or you couldn't start, or you did start it and it wasn't finished, then you can in fact ask for another extension of 1 year that is very, very specific. And it is not a land development issue. It says this is the safe way to be doing this. And now someone is saying, it doesn't matter. We're going to say, no, that rule, that state regulation, which is a Title V regulation, doesn't make sense. And there's also a posted way that's published that says if you want to change this regulation, this is the way you change the regulation. And so it's by statute saying this is the way you change it. And the governor is not using that way to change it. So unless that gets fixed and the government goes back and said, we're going to change Title V, which they hasn't, then I don't think this permit extension covers it. what are your thoughts? Because we've got to answer, you've got to answer this question for this real estate guy tonight.
Well, if we adopt this, then it's going to shave off the potential of, if you go backwards and talk about the 11-year all in the way it works now, and we bring this in, if I follow correctly by strict definition, then we're maxing out at 3 years.
All construction permits are good for 3 years. So when someone comes in and says, I want a permit to put in a septic system, that permit is good for 3 years. And Title V specifically says, once you issue one of these permits, the system has to be completed by the end of 3 years, or under some very unusual circumstances, you can come back to the board and said, I'd like up to a 1-year extension for this particular reason. So that's what Title V says. And so we've got a statute that says this is what it is. And you've got another thing that the governor says is for land development. This isn't land development. This is for septic system installations. That for land development, the permits get extended for 2 years if they were valid during this period. But this isn't for land development. This is for septic system installation. They haven't said, gee, you've got a plumbing permit, and the plumbing permit's good for 2 more years. Or you've got a beaver permit, and a beaver permit, instead of being valid for 10 days, is now valid for 2 years and 10 days. That it's just not a land development permit. It's a different kind of permit, and it doesn't come under these regulations. That's my feeling. And it sounds like, if Colleen is right, it sounds like that's what Bill is saying too.
Yep.
So I think from my view is for the real estate agent that we say, no, it's not good. It's not going to be extended for 2 years beyond the 3 years. It's going to be according to the Title V, and it's not a land development permit. It's a septic system installation permit, and you just follow what Title V says.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like you can't put the thing in. He's only 2 months away from being able to get a perk test. A month and a half away from getting a perk test if that's what he needs.
Yeah, because obviously, April is coming around the corner pretty soon.
That's right.
He's got the permit. He just, he doesn't have the house built, so he didn't want to put the septic system in first, and it's going to expire in April. So.
What he should do is talk, if that's what he's planning to do, he should come and talk to us about extending it within the framework of the extension, the 1-year extension.
1 year. Mm-hmm.
That Title V allows us to do.
Mm-hmm.
And let's figure out how we want to do that, because we can do that.
Okay.
Do we know where is this like just a couple lots from this development company, or just
this
a
is
piece?
lot 2 on Chicopee Street for Jerry Codier.
Is this one of the ones that are right across from the shooting range?
That's correct.
I wonder.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they have a house that's framed up right now. And I guess there's 2 more lots. But worst case scenario, they should come in, talk about it, and maybe they just need another the equipment's up there. They could do a deep hole for practically, nothing because everything's up there.
So we
But
could find
that's
out. He
just my
could
way of
make an
thinking.
appointment to talk to us about what he's really trying to do. And
Yeah.
maybe it can easily be done. Maybe it can be easily done with the existing framework, the law framework, not the framework of the house. But it can easily be handled, and he just has to do it in the right way. And it's just this law is the wrong one to use.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell him to come to the next meeting if he wants to.
Yeah, maybe he just can't get the house poured and framed out, or I don't know what his plan is, but they should for sure be, they must have already, well, you're already up there, Dick. You've already done the initial perks on that property.
Yeah, I don't know which ones these are, but because there's some other ones that we've done in the back, so I don't know which ones are which here. But if this is the
I
case,
got
then
you.
maybe the guy's got to just go in and start the septic system, and then say, okay, now you fall into the thing that we can extend it for up to a year, and give him plenty of time to get what he's doing, and he doesn't have to worry about anything. But
Right.
it's just,
Maybe
but it's just that this procedure is the wrong one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's possible they just did a misinterpretation of what they read or what they thought, and it may or may not be applicable.
Well,
Okay.
we're saying that one isn't applicable, but there may be one that is absolutely fits what he needs to do and can get what he needs done. But he just has to tell us what he's trying to get done and see if we can find the regulation that helps him do it.
Yep.
Okay, the next.
Yeah, and okay, no, we're good. I mean, especially
Okay.
as you point out, the timing is perfect for this type of a problem, since within 6 or 7 weeks they can, if everything else goes south, they can certainly go in and re-perk if need be. But I don't think that's going to have to be the case. But we'll see.
That's what I'm guessing too.
Yeah.
It may. So the next one is a plumbing. Oh, this is the plumbing. Oh, that's what. This is plumbing permit fees and inspector fees. I gave a whole bunch of thought to what the right way to go after our last meeting. I was going to go directly to the accountant, and then I was going to go to the select board to Mark Bale and say, gee, what can we do here to get this fixed? And then I decided, whether rightly or wrongly, that instead of doing an end round around Tom Quinlan, who is the one that is spearheading this thing and who really came and asked us to do stuff, and that we dealt with, saying, you better make sure the salary thing and everything with the who works for whom and who gets paid what is all taken care of in whose budget. I said, if I end up going to Mark Bale or if I end up going to the town accountant, I'm going to get somebody's fur all standing up by doing an end run. And I said, why don't I instead go to the person who's driving it, which is the building inspector, which is Tom Quinlan, that he's the guy that knows the most about this. He's the one that wants to do it. So why don't I start with him and say, how do we make this work right? Because it's got to be I believe that what keeps his inspectors happy is what we want also. So, but for some reason, Tom must be on vacation, or because he's got an answering machine on his cell phone that says, I'll get back to you as soon as I get back, and
He
please,
was, but he's back now. He was on vacation, but he is back because he was there today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give him a call again tomorrow. So that's where that one stands.
So, or do we have any sense, or is it too early to think about what those guys need for numbers? But I mean, they indicated that they increased the permitting fee anyway.
Yeah, they said
So,
that the permitting fees are plenty big for them to get the
okay.
salary they need.
They're just not getting their slice of what they think is a commensurate
Right.
inspection fee then.
Right. So that's where we
Okay.
talked about the last time, that said that if we wanted to do an end run on our own, which I'm really afraid of doing, is we could just say to Mike and McCain, and say, hey, what is it you want? You know what you raised it up to so you could get something. What is it? And the Board of Health could just say, those are the new fees. But that's not playing very nice in the sandbox. That's for sure. So
Okay.
so I'll call
Yeah,
I'll call Tom.
I get it.
I'll call Tom and see what is really going on. But it's also pretty easy to see it as it turns out. As I was trying to get Tom, I said, I'll give it a chance. I had uh, Greg Briggs, the old building inspector's cell phone number on my phone, and I said, maybe he just gave his number to Tom. I was being lazy instead of looking up Tom's number, and I talked to Greg, and he's doing well. He's had a hip replaced, but he's spending half of his time in Maine, and we talked about salary, and he said, he said salary was a very important thing in his decision to leave, and he said I was getting paid 1/3 of what the current building inspector is making.
Hmm.
So getting this thing straightened out is probably a reasonable thing to do.
Mhm.
The next one,
especially in lieu of that potential development up on the top of Carver Street.
I haven't.
Yeah, everyone.
We keep getting these things coming up. Colleen keeps sending us stuff, but we're probably going to have to talk about what we want to do. I guess that kind of fits. We don't have Bill here to talk about approvals for the building department, so we could look at this new mail and other business and throw this in there, Lee. If you look at that drawing, there are 75 lots in there, and the soils. I remember very well what the soils are like. And we actually, at one point, if you go in on Munson Ridge, I don't know if you've been in there even in the last 5 years, Lee, but if you look on the right side as you go in, the houses that are way up on the hills on the right have these monster walls or piles of big round rocks all around, thousands of round rocks that are the size of little Volkswagens.
Yeah.
And when that's what the soil is made of in there. Now, I don't remember seeing any ledge. I don't know that there's certainly up in that area someplace when you drive up through, you see wetlands crossing the road. But and when we went up to do the perk test, Bob Sheehan, I don't know how many years, I'm probably Bob Sheehan Senior, and I'm trying to remember who I talked to that dug holes for Bob. It's possible that it was Neil Jackson that was digging the holes by hand for the perk test. And so it's a while ago. So it's at least 20 years ago. That way we're up on the top of that area where they actually went around from the end of Munson Road and curves up to the right and goes up on top. And it is those same holes trying to dig that in there. You cannot do it with a regular backhoe. You need monster machines. But I don't know how you're going to perk 75 lots. I don't know whether when we get in here, Lee, my suggestion is that maybe someone says, this is how we're going to pre-lay out the lots and pre-lay out the houses and the wells and the septic systems. And then we're going to get these big machines and multiple crews and start going through but maybe you start off saying you guys are going to have to start this right at the beginning of the perk season and try to get machinery up there, and let's do a couple of these, 4 of them or whatever, and figure out how long it's going to take, because if to do 75 lots and that kind of stuff where you can't dig a hole is, it just won't get done.
Yeah, it won't be possible.
It just won't be possible. Maybe the town has to hire people, or they've got to hire engineers, and the town supervises the guys that are doing the tests, and maybe you get another engineering company does the witnessing, and the town witnesses the witnesses, and I don't know, but it's a monster project in horrible soils.
Well, in the I don't know the answer category, if we do end up with an outside firm, the financial side of my head says that we have to keep close watch on the permitting fees.
Well, for sure.
Only because for what your current rate is, no one on the planet is going to even drive to town to do it for that number.
Absolutely. And on top of that, if I'm supervising or somebody's supervising, so you end up paying for 2 people to do these things, and one of them is getting, if they're writing off. Let's say you went to tie and bond or something, and they say, okay, yeah, we'll give you a guy, but our charge out rate for that guy is $200 an hour. And very rapidly, maybe what you have to do is once you know what these guys are doing or what their plan is, then you figure out a way to get a quotation for somebody else to do the witnessing, and they end up having to pay for it. But you're right, it's never going to work. You're going to, what's going to be $2,000 in fees normally from us is going to be $40,000 for fees for someone that's getting paid the right amount. And our budget won't be able to pay it.
Correct. Yeah. So it's going to be a little interesting learning curve, and of course we need to chat with who's ever planning this out, see whether or not they're going to go in a 6 or 10 house per year allotment,
right,
in and out, or do they want everything and just hit it really, really hard over 3 years and get it all done? It's hard to say.
Yeah, you don't know. And then you go into what we just talked about, the 3-year permits. Do they want all these permits done at one time and have them all run out? And it's just, it'll be a mess. The good news is the people up in Colleen's former area, the people up in Ledgewood will be really, really happy for this project, because they're going to have a new screen of houses that go across the top of that hill that stop all the bullets from coming through before they hit Ledgewood.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as well. Anyway, yeah,
Mm.
good site to everything.
Yeah, I wonder if the real estate agents have to disclose that when they start selling houses.
Good question.
Yeah, it's true.
Actually, actually, maybe it's the solution to our problem. Maybe this big developer, because of that problem, will be the ones that take on the shooting range and has the money to pay for the fight. Because in fact, how can a development really move forward? It must be pretty expensive houses. How can that move forward when there's the fear of the gunfire hitting their houses? And once it comes to the surface and everybody knows about it, it's not going to be a funny situation. So maybe this is the time that the fight occurs.
Yeah, I mean, now that you think about it in that fashion, um, as people are moving into eight or a $1.4 million house, whatever it's going to be, they certainly are not going to be tolerating um, the noise, uh, the inherent potential danger, etc. It just simply will not be acceptable. I mean, it's not anyway, but this will bring it to a different level.
What I'm thinking. And if you start, as you said, if you start looking at 75 houses that are worth $1.5 million each or something, then maybe maybe the gun club ends up coming against someone that's not afraid to spend a couple $1 million to stop them from knocking down the value of their big expensive houses.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Valid point.
so we'll just see. We'll just see where it goes.
Yes.
And unfortunately, if you look at who was taking the lead at our end on the last time, Chris Martin was, and that we've only got an acting town administrator right now who's Kevin. I'm sure is is capable of doing what he. Now I have to believe it's not exactly capable. He already had a full-time job. He was working well at being a police chief. So Kevin must be delegating to people, but Chris Martin already knew how to do the job, and he was spending more time than a full-time person. So to get a person who doesn't know how to do the job, and then to try to get a job done that he doesn't know how to do, while he's got another job that he's working on, is something that's impossible. I don't care how good Kevin is. It's impossible to try to get that done. So then if you throw him in the middle of something like this that he wouldn't have expected to get thrown on his plate besides, it's crazy. It's just no human being can do it. And
Right.
so it is a problem I think that we're going to end up facing. So anyway,
Yeah.
that I guess that's all I have. Are we going to do 2 weeks from now is our next meeting?
That's the 27th. Yep.
Are we going to check? Do we know if the conservation is on a 2-week cycle as well?
Oh, no, but next, the meeting after
No,
that,
2 months, right, Colleen?
it's the second, Tuesday usually, so there
Here's a
might be,
problem meeting, right?
there'll be, yeah, conflict in February, February, 10th.
So so next week, let's talk about
Okay.
what'll be good for Bill. Could you
Mhm.
make sure that
Yep,
not next week, next meeting?
the next meeting, yes.
Yeah, and we'll discuss when the next one is after that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So other than that, I guess we have
Yep.
a reasonably early meeting tonight.
Not too bad.
Yeah. Pretty good.
So, Colleen, is this schedule working out for you and for the town so far?
Yeah, so far so good. So this pay period will be the same. So maybe the next pay period after this one, I could start the reduced hours and yeah.
So this one, you know, so far you've been just using, so you get the same 70 hours. You've been
Yes.
using up vacation time, but now you'll just start
Mm-hmm.
dropping off.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
how much
after this next 2 weeks, because I'm all set for this week and next week I'm okay. I won't and then yeah, after that. So the last week of January into February, yeah. If I could start
yeah,
it
and
then,
then
that would be good.
yeah, for sure, I'm gonna suggest that once people pass all the mixed up schedules with the holidays, and you start to move into a regular working
Mm-hmm.
schedule, to make sure you really touch bases with your compatriots in that
Mm-hmm.
building,
Mm-hmm.
and let's be really really careful that we don't start pushing stuff on them, make it so it's super smooth for them, because
Mm-hmm.
if I know I know what would have happened. I don't know what'll happen now with Kevin getting thrown in the middle of it, but with Chris, other people in the buildings, and he would have been saying, Board of Health, get this thing corrected. This is not something I want to fight with, and it's just, again, we just talked about Kevin. Kevin definitely doesn't want to be hearing about something inside this building, inside
Yeah.
your building,
Mm-hmm.
that's causing him a problem from, people are calling him up and
Mm-hmm.
giving him trouble. He
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't need this kind of
Yeah.
stuff from us. That's for sure.
Oh
So
yeah.
we
No,
need
I
to we
yep,
need
I
to do our part.
yeah,
In fact,
absolutely.
you need to do your part to
Mm-hmm.
say, let's bend over backwards. Let's get a nice system in place
Yeah.
that the people that are in that building say
Mm-hmm.
this is fine. In fact, it'd be nice if we could get something out of it that that they actually gain something by doing what you're doing. And I don't know what you can do to give it, give them something special. I don't know. You have to think about it and say, how can you make life nice for them so
Well,
that they
I do
say
help them
everybody,
out when they're out. When they're out, I do help them out.
yeah,
And I have right along. We do that for each other
yeah,
there. So yeah, I have checked with them. They have had no issues so far.
yeah.
So, yeah, we'll,
Again, it's coming out of a time where people don't necessarily show up the way they normally show up, and then
mm,
if you keep asking every time you're out, say, what is it? What can I do different? As everybody learns to see this little difference, to say,
mm-hmm,
how does this how does this work? Or
mm-hmm,
if it happens that at a time where you're there, maybe with you starting earlier or something, you can work something that says, hey, I start early. What can I do for you when
mm-hmm,
you're not here that makes
mm-hmm,
life a little bit easier for you? Or if just something that says,
yeah,
I don't even have to go way out of my way, but they know that you're doing something
mm-hmm,
extra special as you've asked them to do something.
mm-hmm, yeah,
It's just,
absolutely.
all people like to say, you know what, it's nice to make it a give and take. I'll give, but I get
Mm-hmm,
something back, and just figure out the way. So if there's a way you can find to make someone says, this actually worked out better for us than
mm-hmm,
before. I don't know
mm-hmm.
what the answer is, but
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
asking you to to try to look at it and that way
Mhm.
and to
Mhm.
cut it off. It's a lot easier if you're out in front saying, "Hey, I'm really trying to do this. Let's see what do we need to change."
Yeah.
But instead of waiting until they say, "Hey, I've had enough of this," you
Yeah.
have to change it. But
Yeah. Sure.
instead,
Mhm.
try to really get out in front of it and make
Mhm.
this a kind of a
Mhm.
fun thing for everybody and let make it work. Because
Yeah.
I personally, I think our board, the three of us that are board members, want to make this work. We don't
Mhm.
want to lose you. We're really
Mhm.
really happy with what you do,
Thanks.
and the
Thanks.
town gets a great service by
Mhm.
having you do the job that you do as well as you do it, and to care
Thank you.
about the job.
Mhm.
You're a special employee, and you're certainly a member of our team,
Mhm.
and we want to make sure that don't let something slip in that we say, oh,
Mhm.
nuts, that we should have known this and that we can't recover from it.
Yeah.
So try not to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then everybody have a good rest of your night.
Okay. You too.
Okay.
Okay. Good
All
night.
right.
Good night,
Bye
folks.
bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.